Welcome to this episode of the Modern Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Giordani. I have a second visiting guest. I got Brian Daly on today. We're going to talk all things building a business. He has a great flipping operation here in San Diego, someone who I look up to in the industry. We'll talk about market a little bit because he has a report called Real Report that he sends out to local people here in San Diego. So welcome.
Oh, man. Why do we get into the market, dude?
I don't know. Yeah, we should have just stuck with business
I
building.
don't know. Let's talk about business.
Okay.
How much time we got?
However time we're cruising.
I got time, dude.
Cool. Let's talk about the business.
All right.
We got a lot of content to talk about. A lot of business stuff.
Because I'm glad you do this stuff. I don't do the content stuff like you do.
Mm-hmm.
But you get out there and you put yourself out, and I'm impressed and proud of you.
Thanks, man.
So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
Because you probably have operators that watch this that aren't a part of San Diego at this point. So I'll just put it out there. If anybody actually gets to this point or hears this clip, however you market this, because I'm terrible at this stuff. Is anybody actually interested in learning about the referral partner side of the business?
I don't know. No, I think it was just a topic that I thought I went.
I'm asking though. I'm saying, hey you.
Comment below if you're still watching this.
If you hear this part and you are interested in the referral partner approach to building a real estate investment business, comment.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, and I'll ask you questions, and I'll give you free advice. But I'm just curious because, like I said, I've been batting this idea around in my head about whether or not that's something that actually people want. I don't know why they wouldn't want it, by the way, but
yeah, I mean, for you, if you're doing the stuff like Collective Genius and things like that, why not offer it out, right? Create. Are you talking about like creating a program for someone?
I stopped Collective Genius.
You did.
I'm
surprised they allowed you in.
Okay, no, well, I won't. I'll get into this one offline. I've got a whole bone to pick about that. I was in Collective Genius Select though,
okay.
So I wasn't in the. And that was the reason that I left Collective Genius is because, one, I had to travel to Florida to go to those events. They didn't do any here in San Diego, and
they have one in Ocean. They did one in Oceanside, but I don't know about the Select.
It wasn't Select.
Yeah, that's probably the one you're not allowed at.
And then I was, as in rooms with people that are solving problems that I've already gone through,
right?
And on top of like leaving the family as tough as it is. So I mean, I'm like to travel across the country. And then, there wasn't very many people with as many employees and as many problems as we would have, or the different problems. So anyway, but I'll get into the other Collective Genius stuff off here. I mad respect Jason Medley and that organization. They have great insight, but it just wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
I miss it though, man.
I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to build a program to do.
Oh yeah. This is why I haven't gone down this road because I'm trying to pay. I just told you I hate traveling. Like it's hard. 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
My wife, it puts a lot of pressure on her. She doesn't like it. It's got to be like I don't want to create anything that's going to require me to travel. I know that's probably why I will never do it because I do think the best way to build that kind of business would be to get in front of those guys that are in events like Boardroom and Collective Genius and giving them like, hey, here it is in a box to just go take to your team and you can implement it. That is obviously the best way to do it.
Yeah, it's just hard because you're going to have to get it out there. You're going to have to go talk about it. You're going to have to go speak at events. You're going to have to go travel for the first couple of years. And then it's like, okay, once you sell it, like let's call it, $5,000, per package, and you're updating it, and it's in like some type of like a school where you can rewatch stuff. You're constantly having to update it.
This is why I don't do social media, by the way.
Do new shit. I know. Well, that's why I'm like I'm just giving you like the devil's avocado of like what you would have to get yourself into.
I know, dude.
Yeah,
I know.
The business building stuff. Like so, recently I started coaching. I'm sure Neva told you. I've been coaching since I started like this operation in January. And it's been interesting talking to different business owners. And I've been traveling a lot, going to speaking events with them and getting invited out as more of like a testimony on how quickly I've built things, and talking to different operators. And in those rooms, there are experienced operators. There's, beginners. I wouldn't say newbies, people who have definitely wholesaled and flipped. And then there's like the moderate ones who are just trying to become profitable. And there's some who just want to be more profitable. But it's interesting talking to all these different people, and our market, like that, and that's kind of where the referral partner idea of us having that conversation came up. Because, dude, some of these people, I know how I spend at the height was like $75,000 this year a month in marketing. And some of the people out there, they're 40, 50, 60K, but they have no free marketing channels that they're buying from, right? For me, like if there's a month where I had 2 months where it was like no deals, where it was an internal problem, where I'm going in figuring out what the hell just happened and we missed a bunch of opportunities. That was a sales problem that the
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but are you buying only in San Diego County?
Yeah.
So your acquisitions that don't have real estate experience, are they going belly to belly or are they doing it on the phone?
Virtual.
Okay. Rad.
Yeah. So we're only doing virtual. So we're
like Zoom meetings?
No.
Phone?
100% over the phone.
Huh?
Yeah. So we did 50. I'm at 54 deals this year.
Good job.
Yeah. 50.
It's all in San Diego, or are you going out?
No, all in San Diego. Yeah.
Why aren't we buying from you?
I send Ed a lot.
Do we not?
Here's the problem, like with our market, and this is like, I think a competitor thing is that I see the numbers that when I'm getting sent other people's deals, and I'm seeing what they send them out at, and I'm trying to like figure in what those are, and I'm analyzing in specific neighborhoods, and I'll go back to who's buying those deals, and then I'll go back and reach out to those people and skip trace it and try to find new buyers. Unfortunately, with the wholesaling side, and you guys may do a good job at this of finding people who have like those low hanging fruit wholesales, I can assign them to these buyers who are willing to pay these higher prices that go in. And most of my deals, I do get multiple offers, but like, I'm not gonna lie, would I pay what they're paying? No, but that's not my problem. It's not my job to like analyze a deal for them.
Yeah, whatever they pay,
whatever they're comfortable.
And they have different they have different cost structures and financing. Like maybe they don't use financing, and
they're making money. I've looked back at some of the deals that I've assigned to people, and they're making money. I think if they're not like, for example, if they're all cash, right, and they're not using hard money, maybe they can get their construction for cheaper than I can. I don't know. Maybe they're only looking to do make 5% ROI on their deal, and maybe they're going to list it themselves to cover in the difference in their real estate agent costs. So for me, it's hard. I haven't wholesaled to any of any of our friends.
Yeah.
It
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, and
actually Marcel bought one.
It's work.
Yeah.
You got to do work. Who does your dispo? Is it you?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's work. I mean,
it is, but it isn't. So I do have a dispo person now. Actually didn't even know how to assign a deal in January. So like, it's kind of full circle. I don't even know if you know this.
54 of these.
I didn't know how to sign I didn't even know what an assignment contract. I'd never seen one before. Like Marcel, when him and I were doing deals, like I never even looked at one. So never even knew how to assign a deal. January I did my first assignment. My first flip by myself, I bought in November, sold it in January. And then now I don't know how many flips I've done this year, but quite a few. So a lot of firsts this year that like just full steam ahead.
54 is crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot really quickly. It's fun, a lot of learning experiences. So
yeah,
a lot of money spent. So, but it's been good. Like I think, and especially in this market, like I feel like sometimes I got to give myself a little bit of grace. Like, of course I want to do more and all that stuff, but we were talking about how people struggle in this market and it's not easy.
Oh, dude, I mean, there are a lot of really, really good real estate agents that are struggling just to pay their bills.
Yeah.
Like not worried about building a company anymore. They're just worried about getting their next commission check. And they're good. They're not just good real estate. I mean, they're not just good real estate agents. They're good at sales and marketing, but it's it's a struggle. I do think, what I think a lot of real estate agents are catching on to is that in the real estate investment world, the ones that are going direct to seller, you're focusing on the people that have to sell, right? That is like in any business, like if you're opening up a restaurant, you want to go to an area where there's a lot of hungry people because they're the ones that are going to buy your food, right?
Right.
So in any business, you want to market to the people that are most likely going to need and not just want, but like need what you give them. And what you do right now, which is crazy, you've done 54 times this year, is that, right? You're going to the people that need to sell. And I think a lot of real estate agents are kind of realizing that, like, sphere of influence works in most markets if you're really good at it. But if you're in what we're in right now, and you don't have an avenue where you're talking to people that need to buy or need to sell, it's a struggle.
You have to be a ninja marketer right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, you gotta, like, of course the sphere and all that stuff works, but you gotta be a ninja marketer. I think once you can still, of course, do your sphere. Like, managing your sphere is not complicated, right? Like, you're talking to your friends and family.
You're right. It's not complicated, but it's still, like, surprising.
Yes.
It's very easy not to do well.
Right.
Right. Like, anyway, I won't go down that.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing any? We were talking about building a business. We didn't even really start with that. We went down like a different tangent.
Oh, what do you got?
I was waiting for you to tell me something about building a business.
Oh man, I love it. I just, we talked to, we have similar, similar friends, and there's a lot of operators in our space, and it's super interesting to me to see the different business models, right? Like you got GG Homes, the Goliath, but then you got some really profitable, well-run business models, and they're not big. They don't have to be big, and I feel like we're kind of in between that. What I realized since 2019 when I started this back up is that I love real estate, and still to this day, like, I get a kick out of going in a house and seeing something that's neglected and tired and old, and then seeing what it can be. It's why I planted my flag in this area. Like, I love that part of it, and it's probably why I'm not I wasn't as gung ho on the getting back into the seller marketing, because it's again, your business is different. Like, your business is solving problems and being empathetic and then giving solutions, and which is super, like, that can be super fulfilling too. But my thing that I love is just seeing and being a part of that transformation.
I think that's one of the things. Sorry to interrupt you. The difference between some operators operate on the construction side, and some operators operate from the sales side.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think there is absolutely two different sides, and two different sides is totally okay.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, and this is why real estate is so cool, because you build to your strength.
Yeah,
like a business model that I could and would do that has very little direct seller approach to it. It'd be raising a bunch of money and continuing to build our operation to just value add construction, right? There's a lot of really big ass companies out there that aren't on social media, that aren't talking about, contracts that or sales and whatnot that are super successful, and just a completely different skill set, different structure of an organization. It's really easy to get in this kind of, when you get into residential real estate in particular, get in this rabbit hole of, like, you have to build a business in a certain way. What I love about this place is that you have a business that's successful, works for you, and it's different than mine, and it's different than Marcel's, and it's different than Derek Harms, it's different than GG Homes. But at different scales, at different levels, all of those businesses can be profitable, and none of them have to fit in the box of the other business, right? Like, Derek and I have talked about this often. I got into this kind of medium-sized company simply because I love what I was getting at. I love that part of real estate, but more than that, I love building the business and the team and the branding of it, the culture building side of it, the strategy around it. To me, like, that's what I wake up in the morning thinking about. I don't necessarily wake up in the morning thinking about where that kitchen should go anymore. I do miss it sometimes, but I that's what I get it's my druther. So my business looks completely different than Derek Harms, but his is super successful, right? His is, he makes a ton of money. He has a lifestyle that he wants and it works for him. Same goes for you. Same goes for Marcel. Same goes for Gigi. I love that about our space.
Yeah.
You can really make it your own.
For sure. One of the things you just said, actually two points. One is, when's the last time you actually went to one of your flips and saw the before and afters?
So
I was laughing when you said that because I was like, wait a second, when's the last time you walked one of your deals?
Well, so we had some turnover this year, so I've been PMing some deals.
Good.
Yeah,
okay,
no.
Cool.
So
cool.
More recently, like if you asked me that this time last year, it would have been months. But,
Yeah.
And we're doing again, like I kind of told you, we're doing some higher end stuff, so I get more involved in that.
Yeah, I feel like that stuff's pretty fun. That wasn't a dig. I was just.
No, it's a fair question. Like, again, if you asked me that last year, it would have been months.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned, like quality of life, and like everyone can kind of build their own business. Me learning this year, I had to figure that out. Like, at what level did I want to get to? And there was a point where I honestly, and I know this is maybe weird to say, but that I was doing too much.
Oh, that's not weird to say at all.
It was weird to say, feeling like, am I not pushing myself hard enough? Am I not pushing myself to failure to grow what I wanted to grow? Because I was in sprint mode, right?
Yeah.
Not marathon mode. Now going into next year, I'm in marathon mode where I can sustain and just keep up with the pace that I'm at, get more profitable, things like that. But there was a point this year where I did almost all of my deals in 3 months that I've done this year. 28 deals in like the middle of the year. And I had 28 deals all at once in the pipeline, all in different phases.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And at one time I did this fast because at the time I only had 2 acquisition people. I didn't have a transaction coordinator. I still had a dispo person, but I was still involved in the dispo process. And I was wearing all the hats. And I was being the transaction coordinator, and I was still helping with dispo, and I was going to the walkthroughs on
you were doing all the social media stuff
on the properties. Well, thankfully it was all kind of hands-free with that. But at a point, it's like, I'm dealing with problems every day, and I'm having to be reactive. And I wasn't like, me, I love traveling. I try to be gone, every other month, at least with the wife on vacation. And I had no time to do fucking anything.
Yeah.
And it was one of those times where I was like, it was almost a 2-month period where I was like, I had to take a back seat a little bit. And I was just like, man, I got to slow down. Thankfully, I take it as a blessing in disguise. We did slow down in terms of acquisitions, like those next couple of months. And then I was able to realize that I actually had internal sales problems and other things that I recognized in the business. Because honestly, that 28 deals probably would have been like 36 or more if it wasn't for lost opportunity from the sales problems. But I actually had to realize that you just said that, and it kind of hit how I was feeling earlier this year on creating a business around what I wanted out of life. And I think a lot of people forget that part of it if they're early stages of like, let's just grow, let's sprint. I want to get to, X number of deals, and, you forget what it's going to take to get there in the beginning.
Yeah. You don't really know where your limit is until you hit it, like, and I'm not saying like you can hit a ceiling and get above the ceiling. It's not necessarily a ceiling, but like where you want to stop.
Right.
And I mean, I feel like I've now got that, but I've gone through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
Several times. where I thought I was there, and then I realized, I'm not there yet. So I kept going, and I hit another wall, or another like breakdown point, right? And then you just kind of figure out, well, do I want the pain to keep going? Like, because you just break through that pain, right? And then you'll get another level and another plateau. And like, do you want a higher plateau where you can coast or not? The coasting part is dangerous because you can get to the point where, like, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? But the hustle culture like just teaches us that if we're not growing, we're failing. Yeah. This is why I love talking to guys like Derek and Marcel, where they're comfortable being at their volume and being at their profitability level and being at their side of the company. They know what they want, right?
And you guys have been doing it for a long time. So when they're having those conversations, they realize like where and how they got there and what level of comfortability that they want to. But I think people early on, they forget those things.
Yeah, dude, the strive for growth is like, it's all fucking ego.
Yeah.
It's all ego. And we all have it. And it's just whether or not you got it in check or not.
Right.
And the fact that, we built a company to where it is all just as it was one of those internal dialogues of just like, I think I can do it and I want to see if I can. Right. It's all about me. It's all about my own freaking ego and pride and trying to prove it to myself, not really to anybody else. But then you get into that, you get into these coaching scenarios and you hear about other people doing more than you. You see your competitors doing more than you. And that's where it's like, now you're doing it for other people. Now your goals are not your goals. Your goals are what you think, what you think you should get in order to get to that level. And that's where I'll speak for myself. Well, I've gotten to situations where I'm like, shit, I did it again. Like I'm trying to get to this point where it's not for me. It's just because it's what I think I should do based on what I see other people doing. This is why I hate I love what social media can do, but for me, like I prefer just not to have it. I go through my phases, but I try to keep those apps off my phone because it's really easy to get into that comparison mode, and then you take on goals that aren't necessarily your goals, not tied to your purpose.
Yeah, I don't find myself comparing to other people. I think I have been kind of on my own journey with building. I just didn't know like where I wanted. Like I had no. Of course, I reverse engineered my goals to industry standards of like what I wanted to hit in terms of revenue.
Yeah,
but there was no goal behind it. I mean, now with like my team and stuff, I want them, like a lot of them, I want them to just make good money. I want them to learn a skill. I want them to grow. I want them, to a lot of them have, dreams to buy a house and things like that. So it's become bigger, like when it comes to like the team aspect and the culture. Because a lot of, I'm sure us, like, I think we just like to build shit, like growing a company or building a house or doing a development deal, like all that stuff. I think gets me excited is doing deals, but also like what I've gotten my fulfillment from recently is just the team and watching them grow.
Yeah.
And that part of it's cool. And then the inside, like I've never been into like spreadsheets and KPIs and nerding out on what's working, what's not working, and like the marketing side of things. And I'm like, man, I like this part too. But I don't know. In the beginning, it is all ego, and I definitely tell you that I was doing it to prove how quickly I could do it. Not for anyone that we know, but yeah, I think it was maybe prove to myself or prove to for validation.
Yeah,
that's a scary path.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not self-aware enough to realize that you're going down that path, and you'll just keep going, right? I mean, it's and at some point, that's fine. But as long as it's for the right reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and for your, like, to your point, like I do this because I love the team building because I get to see other people do what I've done before, and I got to see them grow in that. And going into this year, going into this like we're having our all day annual planning tomorrow. We're doing a little bit different this year, and I'm excited because I'm like, well, it's not necessarily about. Usually, it's about growth, and we got to hit these numbers right because my ego. And this year, I'm kind of going into it, it's like, I want it to be more about getting better at what we do, but then getting the team more tied into everything and just approach it a little different. I've for several years I've been approaching it of like, okay, we're going to continue to scale and scale and scale and scale. And now I'm kind of looking at it as like, well, what does the team want? How can we tie even like I've always been trying to have a very attractive bonus system, but how can I tie it more into like what you just said, they can clearly see company makes more money, they make more money. They get to kind of decide where they want to take it. It'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'll tell you in 6 months.
I love that.
If it's successful or not.
So my goal. So when I have my quarterly meeting with all the salespeople. Now I only have one now, but I was having quarterly meetings with them, and I have a spreadsheet where it basically says how much they want to make, how many leads they need, basically all the metrics. Mm-hmm. And so when I have those meetings, it's based on the revenue. The revenue that they want to do is what I'm basing my marketing budget off of, so I can work backwards, so I can get them to their income goal.
That's awesome.
So I'm not working it off of what my goal is. Like if my goal is to do more, that just means that I need to get more referrals or get stuff from social media, whatever it is.
More salespeople.
Yeah, or I need to hire more salespeople, right? But the goal for me wasn't to. I want the amount of people that want to be here, and I want to grow them first before I bring in more salespeople. So obviously we're still early on, so I want them to hit a consistent revenue goal every month that they want to hit. And so I base all my marketing off of what they want to hit. Because honestly, like with the referral stuff, I could have very easily done half of my volume with no overhead, and still been totally happy. The only thing is like in this market, at least for my comfortability, I love having the direct seller avenue because I can wholesale.
And yeah, there is a level of reliability and consistency to it. You spend this much comes out of it. Yeah. Unless you have a breakdown.
I do throw all my marketing channels on what it is, but I don't break down. I should break down like our average profit per deal based on wholesale, based on flip, but it's all merged together. But all of the majority of the deals this year have all been assignments. I've closed them maybe like 12, maybe 15. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, very small percentage of that.
It's good, dude. This is your first full year?
Yeah.
Like I said, at 54 is impressive. I'm gonna have you when I'm gonna ask my team if they want to do direct seller stuff. Then I'll be like, okay, we're gonna have Josh come in.
I talked to Neva about it. I told her what I was doing. We had a long conversation the other day. We were shooting the shit. 'Cause she's like, yeah, I want Brian to do direct to seller stuff. I'm like, do it. You guys have the infrastructure to do it. To add it.
This is good.
Add it in.
Neva, I caught you. That's funny.
Well, no, I was telling her what I did. I love Neva. Her and I have had a great relationship over the years.
Yeah, Neva's awesome.
But you guys very easily can. I mean, yeah, it's a different sales position, right? Like your infrastructure this is just from like me knowing like the business and the people and all that stuff. Like you definitely need to hire someone with no real estate experience that comes in as sales. And for you guys, like going on in-person appointments and things like that, it may bring away time, I think, a little bit. So
well, that's what I mean. I mean, the fact that you're doing it over the phone, it's like, well, shit, why are we overcomplicating it?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not complicated. It just took us 4 months. Like I said, I think we had a lot of marketing that was going out for the first 3 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't start really seeing the results until I had like those back-to-back huge months.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a runway of marketing spend.
Yeah.
And you gotta have the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. I mean, I think like here it's going to cost you about $11,000 to get one deal. Like our cost per deal is around 11,000, right? And then whether we wholesale it or we flip it, like our profit margins earlier in the year were lower because I was wholesaling the majority of everything. And then I would keep stuff, and I only like buying in North County because I don't want to go drive to Spring Valley or to La Mesa or wherever it is if I have to go check in on projects. I don't have a project manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I made my business kind of like what we were talking about around the things that I like to do. So if we got stuff close by, close to home, I'm going to probably keep it. I'm going to close on it. And if we got stuff further away, I'm probably going to assign it. So but it's a beast. And I didn't expect, like, I just had full confidence in the team, but it's a lot of work, like daily trainings, role playing and scripting. We're very involved.
Tiffany High, right?
Yeah. I'm very close with them.
Yeah, I've seen the promo client testimonial. I really like their stuff. I mean, I remember when we were doing when we did this. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we did like their like 10-week program or whatever it was, and simple.
Yeah,
it's hard work, but simple.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's a full new business for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
That's where I was in Ohio. I was with them this past week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I spoke at their
you're the
thing in January, and I spoke again.
You're a poster child now. 54 deals in 12 months, dude. That's good, man.
But I've gotten really close with them over the years and their team, and it's just cool to see. Like they're and here's some like cool numbers, like just being around cool people like that. Like we went to dinner, like I flew in town Tuesday. Her and I and Josh and a few of their other teams, like we all it was her birthday, so we went to a steak dinner and just listened to them talk and like their operation and their business and like where they were 3 years ago to today. I mean, they're on marathon mode on the flipping and wholesaling side of things, right? They're just cruising. That business runs smoothly. I don't think they're looking to scale it. They're doing their 300 deals in Ohio. But like in terms of like their coaching and everything else, like from 3 years ago when they started that thing to now, I think they're doing 60 million a year, like total in revenues with all the companies. It's like, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Bonkers.
Like, yeah. Like
and this is why not everybody should coach. It's why I like to do it right.
Yeah.
To do a good service for the people that are going through it. You better be good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that aren't.
No, there is. There's a lot. I've gone to events, and here's the hard thing. I think with our industry and for people starting out, like if you're looking to, and this is advice for people who are listening, if you're looking to start in this business, you need to hire someone who's doing the thing and still doing it. How many changes have you gone through in this industry, like over the last 10 years? A lot, right? If you weren't still being an operator in the business, how can you properly give advice to someone when you're not operating?
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it's doing a disservice to your clients because you don't know, like if you are doing, if like for me, if they're not doing direct to seller, why am I doing direct to seller if they don't even know what's working, if they're giving me advice on hiring cold callers where inbound or outbound is dead, right? Or one's working, one's not working. And I know every market is different, but you gotta take, like I wouldn't pay for someone if they're not operating at a high level already and their business isn't profitable and they're not willing to share what they're doing. And I wouldn't have the confidence to do my business, right? And there's a lot of those gurus out there right now that don't operate still, but are selling the sauce. And to me, that's just a disservice to the people.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I think very easily they can, especially these gurus that can start their operation up very quickly, in my opinion, if they already had the sales training, they already had the people, they already have, like, let's say the coaching salespeople who are reaching out, put some of those people into acquisitions, start your operation back up and start coaching. Cause if you're not operating, you just can't be selling shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love when like Tiffany High is usually pretty open about this on her social. At least she was when I was looking into her stuff. She's like, this marketing channel ain't working anymore, or this marketing channel is the best, and she's got data to prove it. and she's got the scripts behind on the sales side that, good.
But some of her, I've tested a lot this year. I think you have to when you're in the direct to seller space.
Well, in every market, it's going to be different.
It's so different. And so things that were working for people in Florida and like for them in Ohio did not work for me.
What are you finding working best here? Are you allowed? You look at you this smirk? You don't want to say it, do you?
No. I'll say it. I am, and we were talking about ego because this is another thing that my ego probably will come into play. I'm heavy direct mail. I do PPC and I do pay per lead. The thing that I've gotten deals from every channel you can possibly think of, whether it's direct mail, whether it's cold calling, whatever it is. I've gotten deals from all of it. What I've found is there's a few that are more profitable than others. PPL and PPC. PPC in the beginning, and I was in our competitor locally has a PPC company.
Oh yeah.
And I was allowed in. And in the beginning of the year, I was in for a period of time, and I think I got like 3 or 4 deals like pretty much right off the bat. The market was good though. I was able to move deals pretty fast, and so I could lock those up at a higher price point. Now needing deeper discounts on deals, the PPC and PPL are a little bit harder. A lot of it too is retail. So like a lot of those leads with the PPL sources, they're wanting retail, so it's more of an agent referral. So I've been spending a lot of time on, do I have an avenue for, an in-house agent that handles all of these leads that can go through and be a part of our CRM? Or recently I took one on and I regretted it, and I don't know why I did that, but that's on more of
You're
like
the second person that I've heard that from recently.
Yeah. So direct mail is always like tried and true. I know you guys have a data provider that you guys use. I use the opposite one. But it's just you gotta spend a lot, and the conversion is like my girls answer the phone even if it's 9 p.m. at night.
Yeah,
they are on the phones all the time.
Is that your acquisition or your lead manager?
Acquisitions. Yeah.
So you don't have a lead manager?
They're closers. Yeah.
So they just answer the phone regardless. No lead manager, just direct closer.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 1 or 2 now?
I had 2.
Okay.
I had just let go of the second one.
That's tough.
My first 5.
Yeah, see, dude, I love business, and this is my problem, dude. Now, after this conversation, I'll be like, oh man, we should do direct sales. Yeah. Neva, if you listen to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I wanted a level, and we've gone through this, and I'm sure you felt this when I don't have as many referrals as you and other people, other friends of ours that have been in the industry as a known flipper in the industry for a long time. So I got referrals from a select number of people, and like Marcel and I would do, I don't know, like 9 to 12 deals a year together when we were JVing for the last 2 years. And those were all just from the referrals that I knew from the title industry and things like that. And don't get me wrong, like that could have been a great business for me to just stay in. But what I realized is a lot of those deals and those referrals dried up when the market was good. And I wanted something more predictable. So when I, signed up for coaching and I was committed to doing the direct to seller stuff, I wanted to test it. But I've had to spend a lot of money in order to test the things that were working and not working. And I'm still testing, right? Because we're month over month is constantly changing with what mailers are working, what lists are working, how many times we have to hit that list. PPL providers, which one? I literally have $10,000 spends in every single one of them. And it's like, which ones were performing the best? So I had to do a 4-month trial of which ones did we get, how many deals did we get from each of those, how many offers did we get, all that stuff. So I had to figure out those metrics for myself. And, that's Tiffany and Josh are great. Their program is great, but like you can't be afraid to spend a shitload of money to figure out your.
That's what I'm saying. To do it right. Like if we ever get back into direct mail or direct seller stuff, like
you're going to piss away $200,000 really quick.
Intellectual. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. I feel like you need at least a 6-month runway of spend in your mind of like, I might not see a dime back of this for 6 months.
Yeah.
And to hit any kind of lead volume that's going to keep a successful salesperson happy, you are probably spending $50,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that if your metrics are right, $50,000 a month, 4 deals a month, a salesperson in that role probably needs to hit $4,000 a month to make it even worth their while.
Yeah.
Or 4 deals a month, even worth their while.
And that $50,000 would get you about 4 deals.
Yeah.
which is like.
But after you get through that first 6 month lull for it to catch up to itself.
Yeah, and it will.
Unless you're, pay per click obviously is a little bit quicker turnaround. So did you get kicked out of the local one, or did you just change
the conversion started changing.
Oh.
I don't know if that was because I was in or not. The conversion started changing, so I did switch up and I went to a different company. And I didn't. What I've just noticed is like the PPL. All of them work. You just have to have bigger spends in order to get the leads, because you're going to pay about $12.50 a lead for all your pay-per-click and PPL providers. PPL is maybe like $6.50, but then you can return those leads. The pay-per-click is you're spending some decent money.
Yeah.
And your conversion is 1 to 21. Like that's industry standards. Mine was a little less, but like it's a lot of money to just get one deal. So my cost per acquisition for other lead sources was just better.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have those other lead sources, pay-per-click is cool because you can, granted, if you know how to turn it on, you can turn it on tomorrow and start getting leads tomorrow. Where direct mail, you got to mail for a couple months.
You have to mail pretty consistently. I mean, we're getting, see, that's the other thing too. And I'd be curious of what your metrics were back in the day. If you ever pulled up like your direct mail, your direct mail KPIs,
would know.
Our call-in rates suck. Our response rates are terrible. They're not great, but we're still getting, we still get deals from it, but our response rates are awful. And I've tested every mailer, every letter, every possible thing you can possibly think of. And our response rate, you're just not getting what like industry standards would be in other areas. So like for Tiffany and Josh, like they could spend $4,500 and get one deal, and their average assignment fee is $38,000. So like some of mine are that cost too. So when I'm thinking of conversion, if I'm spending $11,000 to make $38,000 or $40,000, not great. I'll take it, but like in other markets, they're getting some decent numbers with spending less.
Oh man, you're gonna make me go into direct seller stuff. I don't want to do it.
We'll be competing. So yeah, but I gave you one nugget. Now you can hard sell people on your real report, and then you won't even have to do direct seller.
There you go.
I could just stay in my little lane. And then I could just compete against the big boy.
How many appointments? Well, I guess you guys are doing it on the phone. How many?
We consider the phone appointments still appointments.
Yeah. So how many appointments do you guys have where you're running into the big boy? Is it often?
Yeah.
I
mean, if I was to give I don't even know what the number is, but it would be a very high percentage.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like to do this at volume, like you have to be really good at it now.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody answer the phone at 9 o'clock.
It has to be live.
And
they can't be a VA. They can't be out of area. They have to be like, and the reason, like when you're doing inbound marketing where it's you're not doing outbound, they have to be very high level. They have to be very qualified, because they have to be like, as soon as you answer the phone these days, it's objection handling instantly. You got to like calm these people down and rang them in and like figure out where things are at. So it's you have to definitely be very good. But they go on a point. I mean, they still do all their in-person stuff.
Who?
I
know.
Yeah.
But their machine is just remarkable.
Yeah.
And love them or hate them. I mean, I've tested this before. You land on their website and you don't fill out the full form. You just put in your address. Don't give them any other information. They'll get you.
Yeah.
They'll call you in like 10 seconds after that form goes through. They got your number.
Interesting.
And they're calling.
We have a tracking system that does that, and I've never even looked at it to go and utilize what it is, because we don't get I don't get notified, but we get a ton of traffic to when we're doing PPC for people who don't register or whatever it is. I have a back end system where it gives me all of their name and address, but it doesn't give phone numbers, so we have to skip trace it. But it's pretty ninja data. I just don't know. Yeah. Now you gave me that idea. So I got a nugget today.
There you go.
Well, cool, man. I feel like we can end with that. This was a long episode.
All right. It was. Hopefully.
Got value. Cool.
He's like, you guys are supposed to be done 30 minutes ago.
No, we're chilling. Thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.
See ya.